I never thought my life could feel this hollow. I always told myself I had it all. A steady job at Harrison Tech, friends I could rely on, and Lily Thompson. 3 years together, and I thought she was the one. Alex, you're amazing, she said last night, her hand brushing mine as we sat on the couch. But her eyes were distant, like she was somewhere else entirely. Did I do something wrong? I asked, trying to match her smile. She shook her head and laughed softly. No, it's not you. It's just I don't know. I feel like I need more. More? More of what? I leaned in, searching her face for answers. She shrugged, eyes glancing toward the window. I just feel stuck sometimes. You understand, right? I guess, I said, though I didn't. I wanted to say more, to fight for us, but I swallowed the words. I didn't want to push her away. Later, I called Ethan. He always knew how to calm me down. You sound off, man. What's going on? I don't know, man. Lily's different lately. Distant. Ethan's voice was steady. Relationships go through phases. Maybe she's stressed at work. Maybe. I muttered, but the pit in my stomach wouldn't let me by that excuse. The next evening, I was scrolling through my feed when I froze. A photo popped up, Lily laughing with some guy I didn't recognize. Ryan Caldwell. I clicked through, heart hammering. Every photo showed them together. Lunches, coffee, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. I called Ethan immediately. You're not going to believe this. Lily, she's with someone else. Wait, what? Are you sure? I'm looking at it right now. Ryan Caldwell. She's smiling at him the way she used to smile at me. Damn, man. I'm sorry. Did you ask her? I haven't confronted her yet. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. The next morning, I saw her in the kitchen, making coffee like nothing had changed. Morning, I said, voice tight. Morning, she replied, not meeting my eyes. Who's Ryan? I blurted, heart racing. She froze, then forced a laugh. Ryan? He's just a coworker. What? Just a coworker, huh? I asked, trying to keep calm. You've been spending a lot of time with him. She sighed, setting down the mug. Alex, I told you. I feel I don't know. I'm not unhappy. I'm just different. I need space. Space? After 3 years. I couldn't hide the hurt in my voice. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said softly. I felt my stomach twist. Do you love him? I asked, barely breathing. I don't know, she admitted. I'm confused. I stepped back, letting the silence stretch. My hands shook as I tried to process her words. How could the woman I trusted, the one I imagined spending my life with, be slipping away so easily? I went to my car, heart pounding, replaying every moment with her. The smiles, the laughter, the quiet nights. All of it felt fragile now, like glass ready to shatter. Ethan's words echoed in my mind. Maybe she's stressed. I wanted to cling to that, to deny what I knew was happening, but the photos were undeniable. She was moving on, and I hadn't even realized it. I scrolled through her social media one more time, seeing Ryan's name tagged everywhere. Lunches, coffee breaks, late-night posts. Every picture was a punch to my chest. I sat in the car, hands gripping the steering wheel, thoughts spinning. I felt disbelief, hurt, and confusion all at once. How did it come to this? Was I not enough? Did I miss the signs? I looked at her apartment across the street, at the light in her window. She didn't know I was watching. She smiled, laughing at something Ryan said. That smile, that sound, used to belong to me. It hit me then, sharp and cold. My perfect life wasn't perfect. Not anymore. And I realized, with a sinking weight in my chest, that Lily might be leaving me for good. I didn't move for a long time, just staring at the light, my mind screaming, my heart breaking in ways I hadn't thought possible that I couldn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Lily's smile, the one she now reserved for Ryan. By morning, I had made up my mind. I needed answers. I walked into her apartment, my hands trembling. Lily, we need to talk, I said, my voice firmer than I felt. She looked up from her phone, startled. About what? You know exactly what, I said, trying to keep my anger contained. Ryan Caldwell. Who is he really? Lily put her phone down, leaning back against the counter. Alex, I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of nothing. Nothing. I took a step closer. I've seen the pictures. You're laughing with him, spending time with him. How is that nothing? She crossed her arms. Alex, I need space. I need to figure things out for myself. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you're taking this too seriously. Too seriously? I repeated, my voice rising. 3 years, Lily. 3 years I thought we were building something real, and now you're telling me I'm overreacting. I'm not saying it's not real, but feelings change. People change. You can't control everything. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to stay calm. So what? You just replace me? That's how this works. I didn't replace you, she said sharply, eyes flashing. I don't know. Maybe I found something I didn't realize I was missing. The words cut deeper than I expected. I wanted to scream, to shake her until she understood the damage she caused, but I didn't. I felt hollow. I left her apartment, pacing the street. My phone buzzed. Claire Benson, from work, texted, "Hey, you okay? You seemed off this morning." I typed back quickly, "Not really. Lily, she's with someone else." Her reply came almost immediately. "I'm so sorry, Alex. Do you want to talk?" I called her. "Claire, I can't believe this. I thought I had everything figured out. How do you deal with someone just leaving you? You can't control other people, Alex. You can only control yourself," she said gently. "I know it hurts, but don't let it define you. I don't even recognize myself right now," I admitted. "I feel like I'm not enough." "You are enough," she said firmly. "You just need to focus on you for a while. Let her make her mistakes. You focus on your growth." I hung up, but my thoughts were spinning. The betrayal wasn't just an event. It was a storm tearing through my life. I kept thinking about Ryan, about Lily's laughter, about every moment she seemed happy around him. I had been blind, or maybe I didn't want to see. That afternoon, I decided to clear my head and walk past the park near my place. I didn't expect to see them, but there they were. Lily, laughing at something Ryan said. Her hand brushed his arm lightly, the same way she used to touch me. My chest tightened, and I had to lean against a tree to stop from collapsing. "Do they see me?" I whispered to myself. "Does she even care what this does to me?" I watched them for a long time, a mix of anger and heartbreak churning inside me. It wasn't temporary. This wasn't a phase. She had chosen someone else, and I was powerless to change it. I felt a surge of determination then, a spark of the old me I thought I had lost. I didn't know how yet, but I knew I wouldn't stay broken. "I will get my life back," I muttered under my breath. "I will not let this define me." The sun was starting to set, painting the sky with streaks of orange. I pulled out my phone and called Ethan. "I need you, man. I don't know how to move past this." "I've got you, Alex," he said. "You're stronger than you think. Don't let this tear you down. Use it." I nodded, though he couldn't see me. I had no clear plan, but I knew one thing. I would rebuild myself, stronger and smarter. The betrayal cut deep, but it wouldn't break me completely. I walked home, head held high, trying to swallow the bitter taste of reality. Lily had left, but I wasn't finished. I would find a way to reclaim my life, one step at a time. I didn't think I could get out of bed that morning, but I forced myself. Claire's text kept buzzing in my phone. "Breakfast? Talk it out." I called her. "Alex, you sound exhausted," she said the moment I picked up. "I am. I haven't slept properly since everything," I admitted. "You need focus, not just rest. Get your mind out of the spiral." "I don't even know how to do that," I said, rubbing my eyes. "Start small. Work. Projects. Challenge yourself. Don't let her control your life." Her voice had this calm certainty that cut through the storm inside me. "All right," I said. "I'll try. But it feels impossible." "You'll do it. I'll help." At work, I threw myself into my tasks. Mark Donovan, the senior project manager, noticed. "Alex, you've been putting in extra hours. Everything okay?" "Yeah," I said, though my voice didn't sound convincing even to me. "You don't have to hide it. Life throws curveballs. Focus on what you can control." I stared at him. I need to prove to myself that I'm not broken." Mark nodded. "Good. That's the start. Small wins. Build your confidence back. You'll see results sooner than you expect." Later, I met Claire for coffee. "I don't know why I thought I could handle this alone," I admitted. "You're human. You're allowed to fall apart. But you also get to rise. You're not just Alex the heartbroken guy. You're Alex the survivor." I chuckled bitterly. Survivor sounds better than pathetic. You're both right now. Just make sure survivor wins in the end. I smiled faintly. It felt good hearing someone believe in me. Work became my therapy. Every extra hour I stayed, every problem I solved, was a small victory. I even volunteered for the new client presentation. Ethan noticed. "You're pushing yourself hard," he said. "I need to," I replied. "I can't just sit around and feel sorry for myself." "You're changing, man. I see it." I thought about Lily. I remembered us laughing at the park, our first movie night, her messy handwriting on my birthday card. Each memory stung, but they also reminded me why I needed to move forward. I couldn't let nostalgia chain me down. Alex, you okay? Claire's voice pulled me from my thoughts. Yeah, I said. Just thinking. You're allowed, she said. Just don't let it stop you. One evening, Mark pulled me aside. I want you to consider something. Leadership, challenges, responsibility. You're capable, Alex. Use this time to grow, not just to heal. I nodded, taking it in. It's hard to focus on growth when everything feels hollow. Start with what you can. Control your actions, your decisions. Build from there. Trust me. By the weekend, I felt restless. I needed a tangible change, a symbol that I was reclaiming my life. I walked into the dealership, heart pounding. Claire had teased me about it earlier, a reward for surviving the storm. Looking for something special? The salesman asked. I nodded. I want something that represents moving forward. No regrets. No looking back. He smiled. Follow me. The sleek, black car gleamed under the showroom lights. I ran my hand along the hood, imagining driving it down the highway, windows open, feeling in control again. I turned to the salesman. I'll take it. Claire called me the next day. How's the new ride? It's freedom, I said, and a reminder that I can take charge of my life again, that I'm not stuck. That's all I wanted to hear, she said, her voice full of warmth. You're finding yourself again. I looked at the car parked outside my apartment, sunlight glinting off its polished surface. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was a declaration. I was reclaiming the life that betrayal had tried to steal. And for the first time in weeks, I felt a small, steady hope. The heartbreak was still there, lurking in the corners, but I could breathe without it crushing me. I had taken the first step toward myself, and nothing was going to stop me now. I didn't plan on spying, but sometimes curiosity gets the better of you. I was at the cafe across from Lily's favorite spot when I saw them. She laughed, the same laugh I used to chase in my dreams. Ryan's hand rested on her shoulder, but there was tension in the way he held it. You're looking at him wrong, I overheard Ryan say. Lily frowned. I'm not looking at him wrong. You're overreacting. Overreacting? You smiled at that guy? Don't think I didn't see it, Ryan snapped. I leaned back in my chair, heart hammering. He wasn't the charming man I imagined. There was control, jealousy, a darkness hidden behind the polished smile. Lily's face tightened, her patience thinning. I can't believe you're treating me like this, she said quietly. You shouldn't have laughed at him, Ryan insisted. Their argument ended abruptly, both forcing smiles when they saw me. Or maybe they didn't notice me at all. The subtle cracks were there. I felt a mix of satisfaction and caution. I didn't want to gloat. Karma works best quietly, I reminded myself. Later, I went to my usual cafe, hoping to clear my head. Sophie Reynolds, the barista I had chatted with a few times, noticed me immediately. Rough day? She asked, handing me my usual black coffee. You could say that, I muttered. I'm learning to survive someone else's choices. She smiled knowingly. Pain teaches more than comfort ever could. You'll see, Alex. Things have a way of balancing themselves. I want that balance, I admitted, staring into my cup. I want to feel like life isn't just unfair. Life isn't fair, but you can make it right for yourself. Focus on what you can control. Her words hit harder than I expected. I had been obsessing over Lily and Ryan, hoping for signs, wondering if she'd regret it. Maybe I needed to stop watching and start living. That evening, I drove past the park where I had once walked with Lily. I saw her sitting on a bench with Ryan, arguing quietly. I couldn't hear everything, but the tension was palpable. You don't understand me, she said, voice sharp. I understand you enough to know you're messing up, Ryan replied. I clenched the steering wheel, a strange mix of relief and disbelief washing over me. The perfect picture she had tried to paint was already cracking. I didn't need to intervene. Life had its own way of teaching lessons. The next morning, I called Claire. You won't believe what I saw yesterday. She's not happy. I'm not surprised, she said. People who leave without respect eventually face consequences. But you don't need to watch it unfold. Focus on you. I'm trying, I said, frustration creeping in. I want to feel in control again, not just wait for life to fix itself. You're building yourself, Claire reminded me. That's far more powerful than revenge. Karma works, but growth beats it every time. I hung up and looked out my office window, watching the city move. People chasing, struggling, making mistakes. I felt a small sense of order forming in my mind. I didn't need to interfere in Lily's life. Watching from a distance was enough. Later that week, Sophie's advice returned to me. I visited the cafe again. I keep seeing her life unraveling, I admitted, stirring my coffee. Then learn from it, she said. Not just the falling, but the rising. Don't wait for someone else's lesson to define your path. Define your own. Her words lingered as I left. I realized I had been obsessed with the wrong things. Her regret, Ryan's flaws. My focus needed to shift. Confidence, independence, growth. That was my power. I started taking on new challenges at work, volunteering for projects that scared me. I spent more time with friends who lifted me up instead of dragging me back into heartbreak. With every small success, I felt stronger, clearer. By the end of the week, I caught a glimpse of Lily walking past my office, Ryan trailing behind. She glanced at me and smiled briefly, but there was hesitation, a subtle pause I noticed. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Karma was patient, and so was I. Driving home, I reflected on Sophie's words, Claire's advice, and my own growing sense of purpose. I felt a spark of hope. Life had its way of balancing itself, but I didn't need to wait. I was learning to reclaim my story, one choice at a time. I was at the coffee shop across the street from the city square when it happened. I didn't plan to watch, but curiosity drew me. Lily and Ryan were standing by the fountain, voices raised. You promised me you'd handle it. Lily's voice cracked with frustration. I handled it my way, Ryan snapped, flustered. You don't get to question me. Your way? Your way is reckless. Lily shouted, her cheeks flushed. People nearby glanced their way. I felt a strange mixture of relief and anger. Finally, the mask was slipping. I can't believe you would do this to me, she said, her voice trembling. You told everyone it was my fault. It's not my fault you're weak, Ryan said, harsh and unapologetic. You always ruin things. I clenched my fists, watching him crumble. I didn't want to enjoy this, but it felt impossible not to notice justice catching up to him. After a moment, Lily stormed off, leaving Ryan fumbling in the square, face red with embarrassment. I exhaled slowly. She had underestimated him in life, but maybe now she would see. I sat down at my cafe table, sipping coffee, when my phone buzzed. Daniel Cooper, a new friend I had met through work, texted, Want to hit the trails this weekend? Fresh air, risk, adventure. I stared at the message, hesitant. Daniel, I don't know. I've been focused on work and you need more than work. You've been playing it safe for too long. Come on, Alex. Life isn't meant to be a routine, he replied quickly. I laughed lightly. You make it sound terrifying. Terrifying is growth, he said. Trust me. You'll thank me later. I agreed, more out of curiosity than courage. All right, I'll do it. But I warn you, I'm not great at outdoor adventures. You'll survive. You'll enjoy it. Just show up. Later that week, I ran into Lily unexpectedly at a business seminar. She froze when she saw me, her smile faltering. Alex, she said softly, almost unsure. Lily, I replied, neutral. I had rehearsed nothing. My confidence had grown in these weeks of focusing on myself. You look good, she added, eyes flicking to my suit, my presence commanding attention. Thanks, I said simply. I've been busy, learning a few new things. I felt a strange awareness as she studied me. It wasn't enough to make me forget the betrayal, but I noticed her hesitation, the curiosity she couldn't hide. Daniel's advice echoed in my mind. Life isn't meant to be a routine. I realized my growth had transformed not just how I saw myself, but how others saw me, including Lily. That evening, I met Daniel at the trailhead. Ready? He asked, grinning. As I'll ever be, I said, adjusting my backpack. Good. You're going to love this. Forget work, forget stress, forget everything you think you know. I laughed nervously. I feel like I should be more scared than excited. Fear is the point. You push through, and you change. The hike was grueling, forcing me to climb steep paths and navigate rocky terrain. I gasped for breath, muscles burning, but Daniel's presence encouraged me. You're stronger than you think, he said, handing me water. I feel like I might collapse, I admitted, shaking my head. You won't. Just focus on the next step. That's it. One step at a time. By the summit, my chest heaving, I looked over the city below. The sky glowed with sunset, a mix of gold and crimson. I felt alive in a way I hadn't in months. See? Worth it, Daniel said, smiling at my awe. It's incredible. I breathed, letting the wind hit my face. I realized the thrill wasn't just the view. It was proving to myself I could still grow, still experience, still thrive. As we descended, I thought about Lily again. She might be noticing me now, curious about my progress, my confidence. Should I confront her? Forgive her? Or remain distant? I shook my head, focusing on the trail. The answer wasn't urgent. I was busy reclaiming my life, one step at a time. Karma had started its work, and I didn't need to force it. My own growth was enough. By the time we reached the bottom, I felt lighter, stronger, more certain. I had survived heartbreak, observed karma at work, and discovered my own strength. The turning point wasn't just Lily's mistake. It was realizing I could rise above it, live fully, and finally start controlling my own story. That I saw her before she noticed me, standing outside the gallery where I had a meeting. Lily froze when our eyes met, and I felt the familiar pang in my chest, now tempered by weeks of growth. "Alex," she said, her voice small. "Can we talk?" I kept my tone measured. "Sure. What's on your mind?" I made a mistake," she admitted, eyes glistening. "I wasn't thinking. I see that now. I never should have left like that." I nodded slowly. "I understand." "You do?" she asked, hope flickering in her expression. "I understand the choices you made. I just don't know if I forgive them yet," I said carefully. She looked down, fidgeting with her hands. "I know I hurt you, and I regret it every day." "I can hear that," I said. "It's late, but your regret doesn't change the past." Her lips trembled, but she remained quiet. I let the silence stretch, not because I wanted to punish her, but because I needed to remind myself I had grown. Later, I ran into Olivia Hart at the same gallery. "Alex, I didn't expect to see you here," she said warmly. "Olivia, good to see you," I replied, shaking her hand. She had this charisma, a confidence that was magnetic. "You've really turned things around, haven't you?" she asked, eyes studying me. "I've been following your journey." "Impressive." "Thanks," I said, feeling a spark of pride. "It's been a process, but I'm getting there." "You deserve it," she said. "You've worked hard, stayed strong. People noticed that." Her words hit differently than Lily's regret. There was no tension, no past to weigh us down. Just admiration. I felt a subtle thrill, a reminder that life moved forward, and so did I. I went to my office afterward and caught up with Claire. She tried reaching out, I said, shaking my head. "And?" Claire asked, sipping her tea. And I told her I understand, but I'm not there yet. I can't erase what happened overnight. "That's good, Alex. You're firm but fair. You've grown enough to set boundaries." "I've also noticed Ryan's situation unraveling," I added. "He's lost clients. Colleagues are gossiping about him. It's almost poetic justice." Claire smiled. "That's karma in action. You didn't have to do anything. Life handled it." I leaned back, thinking about the months behind me. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the long nights. They all led to this moment. My reflection wasn't bitter anymore. It was measured. I saw how far I'd come. The next day, Olivia invited me to a charity event. "It'll be fun. Good people, good causes. I think you'll enjoy it," she said. "All right," I said. "Sounds like a chance to get out of my routine." At the event, I realized how much I had changed. Conversations flowed easily, and people seemed drawn to my confidence. Lily's absence felt like a ghost fading, replaced by opportunities one hadn't allowed myself to see before. Later, as I walked to my car, my phone buzzed. A notification. Ryan had been publicly reprimanded at work, his arrogance finally catching up with him. I felt no glee, only a quiet acknowledgement. Life balanced itself. Driving home, I thought about Lily again. Her attempts to reconnect didn't unsettle me like they would have months ago. I was cautious, measured, and aware of my own worth. I had learned that empathy didn't mean weakness, and forgiveness didn't have to be immediate. I pulled into my driveway and leaned back in my seat. Olivia's encouragement, Claire's guidance, my own perseverance, they had shaped me into someone I barely recognized but admired. Stronger, calmer, resilient. I thought about the man I had been, consumed by betrayal and heartbreak. That man felt distant, almost foreign. The scars remained, but they no longer dictated my life. I texted Olivia. "Thank you for reminding me life moves forward." Her reply was instant. "Always. You're doing great. Keep going." I smiled, realizing she was right. Karma, growth, resilience, they all had their place. Lily's regret, Ryan's downfall, My new connections, they weren't accidents. They were the natural unfolding of choices and consequences. For the first time in months, I felt a calm certainty. I had survived heartbreak, observed justice unfold, and discovered strength within myself. The past still existed, but it didn't define me anymore. I started my car, feeling the engine hum beneath me, and realized life was ready to show me the next chapter. I just needed to keep moving forward, with awareness, strength, and a sense of peace I hadn't thought possible weeks ago. The city felt different now. Driving past the streets I used to walk with Lily, I felt no pain, only a quiet satisfaction. I glanced at the cafe where we had argued, the park where we laughed. Everything was still there, but I wasn't tethered to it anymore. I ran into Lily at a charity gala, a few months after her last attempt to contact me. She froze when she saw me. "Alex," she said, her voice uncertain. "Lily," I replied, calm and collected. My tone carried no anger, only awareness. "I wanted to apologize again," she started. "I realize now how much I hurt you." I nodded slowly. "I know. I've heard it before." Her shoulders slumped. "I didn't think about the consequences. I see it now." "And?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Is there more you want to say?" She looked down, hesitant. "I wish things were different. I understand your regret, but it's too late to change the past," I said firmly. "I've moved forward, and I'm focused on my life now." She nodded, eyes lingering on me. "You've changed. You're strong." "I had to be," I said. "Heartbreak teaches lessons if you're willing to learn." We parted ways then, her expression a mix of remorse and admiration. I felt no bitterness, only closure. Later, I met Claire at our usual cafe. "You look lighter," she said, smiling. "I am," I admitted. Seeing her one last time, it reminded me how far I've come. "You've built boundaries and strength," she said. "You didn't just survive. You thrived." "I couldn't have done it without you," I said. "Your support helped me see what was important." She shrugged, playful but sincere. "I just reminded you of your own strength. You own the rest." Then Olivia joined us, radiant as always. "I heard about your latest project success," she said. "You've been making waves." "I've been pushing myself," I said. "I realize growth isn't just about recovering. It's about stepping up." "You've embraced life fully," she said, smiling. "It's inspiring." We laughed and shared stories late into the evening. With them, I realized healthy relationships could exist without pain or expectation. Trust and respect mattered more than history or regret. Driving home afterward, I passed the street where I once waited for Lily, hoping for signs she might return. I looked at it and smiled faintly. I didn't need reminders of heartbreak anymore. That street symbolized lessons learned, strength built, and the resilience I had developed. At my apartment, I reviewed my career achievements over the last few months. Taking on challenging projects, networking, and seizing opportunities had transformed my confidence. I no longer felt defined by her absence or Ryan's downfall. I had earned my own respect. Claire called later that night. "You're different now," she said warmly. "I feel different," I replied honestly. "I've shifted from surviving heartbreak to actively creating my life. Pain taught me, but empowerment drives me now. And that's the key," she said. "You've turned lessons into strength." I thought about Ryan. His professional missteps, arrogance, and deceit had caught up with him. I felt no satisfaction in his suffering, only acknowledgement that life has a way of balancing itself. Observing it from a distance reinforced my focus on my own path rather than revenge. I texted Olivia, "Dinner this week? Would love to hear more about your adventures." Her reply came quickly, "Absolutely. Can't wait." I smiled, realizing my life now had momentum beyond heartbreak. My circle of support was strong, my ambitions clear, and my sense of self unshakable. The past no longer dictated my actions or thoughts. That weekend, I drove past the places we once frequented, our favorite coffee shop, the park bench, the streets we wandered. Memories flashed through my mind, but they felt distant, like observing someone else's story. I didn't feel anger, sadness, or regret. I felt growth. Pulling into my driveway, I glanced at my sleek car parked in the sun. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was a symbol of independence, progress, and reclaiming control over my life. Each mile I drove, each challenge I faced, reminded me that empowerment comes from persistence, courage, and self-belief. I stepped inside and felt a sense of calm and pride. Betrayal had shaped me, Heartbreak had tested me, but I had emerged stronger. Emotional power, restraint, and confidence were no longer theoretical. They were real parts of who I had become. Lily's regret, Ryan's downfall, the encouragement from Claire and Olivia, they all converged into one truth. Life moves forward, and strength is earned through experience. I had embraced my journey fully, and nothing could take that away from me. Sitting back in my chair, I allowed a deep breath to settle in. I had stood strong, rebuilt myself, and discovered the life I deserved. The lessons were clear. Self-worth comes first, trust wisely, and never let someone else's choices define your path. The weekend arrived, and I decided to host a small gathering at my apartment. Mark, Daniel, Claire, and Olivia were coming. I wanted it intimate, celebratory, a reminder of how far I had come. Mark was the first to arrive. "Alex, this place looks great," he said, setting down a bottle of wine. "You've really made a home for yourself." "Thanks, Mark. It feels good to share it with people who matter," I said, pouring glasses. Daniel appeared next, grinning. "I brought snacks for energy, in case anyone tries to drag me into a competition," he joked. "Don't tempt me," I replied, laughing. "We're celebrating growth, not rivalries." Claire arrived shortly after. "Wow, Alex. Everything looks amazing. You've created a space that matches the person you've become," she said, her eyes warm. "I guess I've had practice turning things around," I said, feeling pride in my progress. Olivia arrived last, radiant as always. "I wouldn't miss this for the world," she said, handing me a small gift. "You didn't have to," I said, touched by the gesture. "I wanted to." "You've inspired me," she said simply, smiling. We sat, shared drinks, and talked late into the evening. Stories flowed, laughter filled the room, and I realized just how much had changed. The heartbreak that had once consumed me was now a memory, a lesson, and a driving force behind the life I was building. At one point, Mark leaned back and said, "You've been handling everything with such resilience. It's impressive." "Resilience isn't natural," I admitted. "It's something you cultivate." I had a reason to grow, and I used it. Daniel nodded. "You've been embracing life fully. That's rare. Most people just let their pain dictate their path." "I almost did," I admitted. "But I chose not to. I chose growth instead." Claire raised her glass. "To Alex, for showing us what strength and perseverance look like." "To Alex," everyone echoed. Later that evening, I spotted Lily walking down the street outside, alone. Her expression was tired, reflective. She glanced at my apartment window and hesitated. I felt a small twinge of something, pity, perhaps, or empathy, but no anger. She knocked lightly on my door. I opened it cautiously. "Lily," I said, voice calm. "Alex," she whispered, eyes downcast. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Truly. I see now how much I ruined, how much I lost." "I understand," I said. "Your choices shaped your path. You've had to face your own lessons." She nodded, a single tear slipping down her cheek. "I never meant for it to end this way. I never realized what I had until it was gone." "You're learning now," I said gently. "That's what matters. I've moved forward, and I hope you can too." "Do you forgive me?" she asked softly. I paused. Forgiveness wasn't about absolving her completely. It was about freeing myself from lingering resentment. "I do," I said. "But forgiveness doesn't mean going back. It means understanding, accepting, and moving on. That's what I've done." Her eyes widened, a mix of relief and sorrow. "Thank you," she whispered, then turned and walked away. I closed the door and leaned against it, reflecting on the years behind me. Betrayal, heartbreak, and disappointment had tested me, but I had survived and thrived. I had learned to balance ambition with care, trust with caution, and love with self-respect. Ryan's downfall was evident in the news the next day. His arrogance and deceit had cost him clients, respect, and reputation. I felt no glee, only quiet acknowledgement. Karma worked in its subtle, inevitable way. That evening, I drove my dream car, the engine purring beneath me. I drove past streets that had once been full of pain, past the park, the cafe, and the corners where Lily and I had shared moments now frozen in memory. I felt a sense of completion, a powerful clarity. I thought about Claire, whose guidance kept me grounded. Daniel, whose energy challenged me to live fully. Olivia, whose admiration reminded me that growth attracts positivity. Mark, whose mentorship gave me perspective. and myself, the person I had become through choice and perseverance. I passed the street where I had waited for Lily, feeling only a distant tug of nostalgia. I realized that victory wasn't revenge, it wasn't rubbing success in someone else's face. Victory was reclaiming my life, building it deliberately, and remaining unshaken by past mistakes. I stopped the car for a moment, the city lights reflecting on the hood. I took a deep breath, savoring the quiet power of control and confidence. Life had given me its lessons, and I had responded with patience, resilience, and growth. My phone buzzed with a text from Olivia. "Dinner this week?" I smiled. "Absolutely," I typed back. As I drove on, the hum of the engine matched the rhythm of my thoughts. Heartbreak had shaped me, betrayal had tested me, and karma had run its course. I had emerged stronger, wiser, and fully in control. The streets I drove were the same as before, but I was different. Every turn, every light, every reflection reminded me that personal growth and persistence were far more satisfying than revenge or regret. Life restored balance naturally, but I had restored myself by choice. And in that moment, I felt complete. I had turned heartbreak into strength, regret into wisdom, and loss into opportunity. I smiled, gripping the steering wheel firmly, knowing that this feeling of triumph, clarity, and peace was mine to keep.